Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie, and I am a beginner sewist. I learned how to sew back in high school, and now I'm starting to sew again. My goal for 2026 is to make a handmade wardrobe and actually make pieces that I'm going to wear. I love watching videos of people doing their cozy little sew-alongs and seeing what everybody is making, and it's really inspired me to make more of these style videos. Today we're going to be making the Aimee Bias Cut Dress. This is the pattern that I'm going to be using. It's by Coraline Street, and it comes in two different lengths. You can do the longer version or the shorter version, and I chose to do the longer version. I love that this pattern can be made casual or made a little bit more elevated. You could even wear it to a wedding if you use the right type of fabric. And I just find it's a very flattering dress with the ties in the back to cinch you up at the waist. And I love the little bust cups. It's still very trendy, and I think it's something that everybody needs in their wardrobe. The fabric that I decided to use to make this dress is this beautiful leopard cheetah print satin polyester fabric. I don't love polyester, but Fabricland was having a sale for $7 a meter, and I couldn't resist. I could see this being such a beautiful bias cut dress with the drape of the fabric. It's so drapey, and I love the shine it has to it. I just feel like it looks a little bit elevated and a little bit edgy, and definitely something that I would wear and something that I would love to see in my wardrobe. So if you want to see how I made the Aimee Bias Cut Dress, then just keep watching, and be sure to leave a comment and a like if you liked this video, and let me know what your favorite beginner-friendly pattern is, and I'll see if I make it. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And we're back. Okay, I apologize for the lighting. It's about 4 o'clock now on a Monday. Mondays are my days off. Got around to printing and sticking the pattern pieces together because it is a PDF pattern that I'm using. Now all my pattern pieces are cut out, and I have them all here with me. I'm going to start to sew and see what we get done today. Let's get started before we lose all of the daylight. First thing I'm going to do is we're going to sew the front and back bodice pieces together, right sides together at the shoulder seams. Now we're going to make some bias binding. So we're just going to fold this in half. So we got two pieces of bias binding, and we're going to use these to enclose the seams around the neckline. All right, so now I'm going to take the bias binding with the raw edges and align it up with these raw edges. And now we're going to sew 1 centimeter seam allowance or 3/8 of an inch around the edge of this. And then we're going to top stitch it. You can see how nicely that turned out. It was my first time using bias tape from the same fabric, and I'm really happy with how it came out. It looks so clean and professional. Next, we're going to do a basting stitch along the bottom edge of the bodice. Then we're going to gather it with most of the gathering towards the front middle and attach it to the front skirt piece. So I'm going to put this at the longest stitch length. We're not going to do a back stitch because we want to be able to gather the fabric afterwards. I'm going to do a second row right beside the first one because I find it easier to pull these strings afterwards. You can see this is the front. It has a little, you're going to align this. Welcome back. It is a new day. It's the next day. Same sweater. I really only wore it to film, so. And I actually got quite a bit done last night. So we attached the front bodice, I did the bias binding, and now I'm attaching the back bodice to the back skirt. So I'm gonna go and do that. And then all that's left to do is to make I already made the bias binding for the sleeves and the straps. So I will make the 2 straps that go tie around the side and bias binding around the armholes, and then I leave the dress to hang for a night and do the hem. So I actually start work in an hour, so I'm just gonna see what I can get done before I go to work. And yeah, let's stop wasting time and get sewing. And I'm going to finish the seam on the inside. I don't have a serger. I'm dying to get one, but I'm also intimidated with the rethreading of everything. But I am going to just use my overcast stitch on my Singer Heavy Duty. And yeah, I think I might just trim it and then overlock it. It does like a stitch along the bottom and then grabs over top of the side. I'm going to sew these ties. I have them right sides together, and I'm going to sew a 1 centimeter seam allowance and then trim them and turn them inside out with a loop turner. So I'm going to turn this inside out with something called a loop turner. And it looks like this. You can get them on Amazon or at your fabric store. They're like really cheap. And they have this little hook on them that hooks onto the edge of the fabric and locks it in and pulls it through. I find them kind of tricky to use and fidgety, but it is one of the best ways to turn your fabric inside out. I've just used a pin to push in the ends, and I'm going to just top stitch the end of the strap. And now we have straps. Okay, so I've made my 2 straps. This was actually the easiest it has ever been to make straps. I think it must have been the slippery material that I was working with. I think I'm going to try to get everything done after work today so that I can leave it to hang and then work on it after 24 hours. So yeah. Okay, I've laid the dress right sides together and I just put it on my bed because it's so big. And I have the pattern piece here, and this is the waistline. So this is where we're going to attach the ties. Okay, so I put a pin where I'm putting my strap, and I did my best to make those as even as possible by just using the pattern piece and not using a ruler. So now we're going to sew along the edges. Okay, I did measure. In the end, I ended up taking my ruler and measuring from the top of the seam allowance, and that hits just around 3 inches. Okay, I've switched the camera to front facing because I just find it easier for the try on portion. I am trying it on for you guys. It's not done yet. I still need to do the armholes and the hem. But it's a good time to kind of try it on and see how everything is fitting. And I find that the ties are too low. They are not hitting me at my waist. They're hitting me more of like below my waist, kind of where my, love handles start. So when I tie it up, it just accentuates my stomach and not the smallest part of my waist. So I think I'm going to move these up like right here. So welcome back. It's been about 2 days. Work has been so busy since I've been back, which is great, but I've been too tired to work on this. So it's literally just the final touches that are left, and I'm going to do them today. I'm going to finish the armholes and then the hem. I've pinned the bias binding with the raw edges aligned with the raw edges, right sides together of the shoulder seams. I'm going to do the same that I did around the front. So I'm going to stitch a 1 centimeter seam allowance, trim it, and then fold this over and stitch it again. And then this will be nice and enclosed like this. And there's no raw edges.